2, 3, go. Do you think about life? Do you like surprise? Do you think it's overrated? Well, I don't. So many A's in my name. Will it ever spell fame? Will it ever bring good fortune? Well, I wouldn't know. I don't suppose so. Did you read it in my horoscope? Did you read it in my horoscope? Did you read it in my horoscope?
Yeah. What's up, Mali?
Hey.
Long time. How you been?
Been good.
Yeah.
Been busy, been preoccupied, been absorbing things.
Yeah.
As
Been
always.
releasing a lot of music in the past couple of years. I think I've seen like a music video and also some other releases. So how's that been going?
Good. I actually took a break from releasing music for a year since the album. And end of this month, I'm putting out a single again, Breaking the Silence.
Amazing.
So excited to get back into the release and record cycle.
Great. So for you also to come back to Sam and do the workshop that you just did, it's kind of come full circle in a lot of ways. So how what do you think about the transition? Was it easy? Was it did it turn out easier than you thought it would?
I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I wish I could really have a conversation with myself at 17 playing on that same stage and I really wonder what I would have expected at that time. I can't remember what I did. And I have no regrets, that's one thing. I mean, however difficult or however challenging, it's always been interesting. And I think that's what helped me write the songs that I did and do what I ended up doing.
Amazing. So, I mean, like today, for example, your workshop was on songwriting. Now, first of all, it was great. I think all the students really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
But as you were doing the workshop, I kind of realized that, songwriting is something which is pretty personal, like
Yeah.
everyone has a different way of writing songs. It depends on, where you come from. It depends on the kind of music you listen to, the kind of music you're trying to do. So, but having said that, do you think that there are certain guidelines or rules or tips which could kind of be beneficial to all of these people, regardless of what kind of music they're trying to make?
I think one thing I really spoke about today was in being honest, because especially when you learn music and you deep dive into how technical things can be, really what you need to do is tone it back and just go back to the simplicity of it, because 90 to 95% of people who consume music actually have no idea what the technicalities of it are.
Absolutely.
And for it to be accessible, for it to make sense to them, it has to be ideally simple, but even if it's not, it should be simplicity mostly and honesty, and then you can add things that are technical and interesting to create that contrast and dynamic.
Right.
So that's something that I wanted to bring up a lot in today's talk, is to pick your moments.
Right.
And pick your decisions, pick your the places where you want to make things interesting and what tricks and techniques to add
Right.
at different times, instead of just throwing all of it at once and seeing what happens.
Right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Also, so you're obviously originally from Chennai, but I think you've been based out of Bombay for the past
7 off and on.
7
yeah.
years. So how did that transition happen, and was it a conscious decision you made that you wanted to move to Bombay, or was it something very organic that kind of just happened?
Completely on a whim. I was talking to someone and they asked me, hey, what are your plans? And I was still in Chennai at that time, playing like a couple of gigs at that time, US 101 and
Right.
Bay and all of these
Right.
venues. And I had a bit of a lineup that we'd field gigs together. And that was about it. I mean, I was writing, but passively. And Bombay was really not at all on the cards. And I think maybe this is the closest thing to feeling possessed that I felt. But I was talking to someone about my future plans, and I don't know why I said it, but I said, yeah, I'm thinking of moving to Bombay. I have no idea why I said it. And I just wanted to see how far that went. I
Right.
said it, and then they said, okay, cool, you should meet this person, you should talk to this person. If you're there, you should look this person up. And then it became a very clear, maybe I should really hold myself to this stupid statement that I
Statement that you
made.
made, yeah.
And I did it. I
Yeah.
actually, like, I had, I think, 5 grand in my account only. And I used that to book a round trip. And I went to Bombay, I met a bunch of people. And I really liked it. And I said, okay, if I've made so much headway in the few days that I've been here, maybe I can give it 6 months and see what happens. 6 months turned into 7 years now.
Right. Now, like, how do you feel when people, for example, if people, when they label your music, or if they do label your music as, like pop or whatever you want, like, for example, we were talking just now and you said that, the latest thing that you're doing is more synth pop, right? So my first question is that, how do you feel when people put a label to your music? And the second question is, now, for example, when you said that, the last album is more synth pop, is that again a conscious decision that you take before you make the music that, okay, I think I'm going to write a synth pop record, or you just kind of go with the flow and then it turns out, it just turns into a synth pop record?
Yeah. I think first of all, I think now genres are a concept that is ever changing. Like there's new genres coming up all the time. There's post this and new that and hyphenated genres, and it's like nothing is really as genre specific as it used to be 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. And although my album is more synth pop than my previous releases, it's still got a lot of influences of other styles. Like there are definitely some very trip hop influences. There are definitely a lot of like alt influences, country influences, folk influences, classic pop even, some jazz even, but not like direct jazz. And they all, I feel like it's as if all the songs in the album are painted with the same paintbrush but mildly different colors, like
Right.
different shades of the same thing.
Right.
And
Yeah, I mean,
so,
that's a great analogy.
yeah, like some of the songs are more like straight up synth pop, almost 80s sounding. Some of them are a little more contemporary. Some of them are a little more 90s sounding. But what we did with the album is really trying to make all of it sound cohesive together.
Right.
My producer Arnab and I, we had a challenge of, okay, now all of these songs were written at different times. They all fit the same theme, but we need to kind of make them sound homogeneous as an album.
As an album.
So our choices of production and tones, and we bring back certain elements from a previous song into another song, just to kind of make it sound like one proper entity.
Right.
So there was a little bit of conscious choices in the production aspect of it, but I think it was always going to be a guilty pleasure synth pop
Sure.
album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that actually makes a lot of sense. So you mentioned about your, that you took influences from certain styles of music. So when you started out, as a younger musician, what would you say? Who were your biggest influences?
Define younger.
I mean, not to say that you're not young, but
I mean, like
let's say when you were here 10 years, 12 years back.
10, 12 years back, I think definitely John Mayer was like a big influence to me and my band at that time. Because
And you're talking about Basin Bridge.
Battle Studies, yeah.
Shout out to
Battle
Basin
Studies,
Bridge.
shout out to Basin Bridge, all my boys. Battle Studies had just come out, and we were tripping hard on that album. I think I was listening to a lot of Jason Mraz at that time.
Right.
I had discovered and was still very obsessed with Alanis Morissette.
Right.
I think also I was trying to do a lot of different genres. Shortly before that, I really believed that I was going to be a jazz singer.
Okay.
At the same time, we were covering songs like Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes.
Right.
And we called ourselves a funk jazz pop band.
Funk jazz pop band.
Yeah, just
Okay.
anything, everything,
Yeah.
like a departmental store of genres. And so I really didn't have much direction at that time. I was really just doing whatever fascinated me, whatever songs I liked. from then to now, I think there's been a lot more of like blinkers on, focus on what I want to do. And I think I have more of a sound now than I did then. And I think that's still work in progress. I think it's only going to get more refined as time goes by.
Right. And these influences that you mentioned, for example, would you say these are the people who influenced your music, or are they the people who influenced you to become a musician? So in the sense, so for example, right now, like for example, I could listen to like death metal music and be like, okay, this music is really cool. I want to make music like this. I could meet a jazz musician and just look at the, that person's perspective on life and lifestyle and things like that, and be like, oh, I want to be a musician.
Yeah.
So all these names that you mentioned, like John Mayer and all these guys, you mentioned you were obviously listening to them a lot. Are these artists who influenced your music, or are they the people who influenced your decision of becoming a musician?
I think definitely more the music.
All right.
Yeah.
So then, what influenced you, or what pushed you to become a musician?
I think one pivotal moment, and I spoke about it today as well, was watching School of Rock.
Of course.
And I think I was the same age as a lot of the kids in the movie. So it really resonated with me
Right.
at the time. This must have been 2003, 4.
Right.
And if you ask a lot of musicians my age, they will cite School of Rock as being a very strong influence for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah.
I think we all had the fantasy that someone was going to walk into class and be
Yeah.
like, close your books, let's do music.
Yeah.
And it was after watching that movie in the summer that I came back to school and I tried to get my friends to learn music. And I said, we should form a band.
band.
And someone said, but I'm learning tabla. I'm like, it's okay, you can be in the band. You know, it was all about like, let's form a band and let's do
Yeah.
things
Let's do
together.
something. Like
Yeah.
let's not. Yeah, for sure.
And then we'd formed like an all-girl band called Noir. It was 5 of us girls, and our branding was metal. We dressed like Green Day, and we played like non-controversial songs for Catholic school.
Oh.
So
Okay, so it's like kind of like the funk, pop, jazz.
yeah, anything.
Different context.
Just anything.
Yeah.
The purpose was to have a band.
Yeah.
You know, and just
That was the
make
driving
music.
force. Like,
Yeah.
let's worry about the music later. Let's worry about who's later. Let's worry
Correct,
about whether we
yeah.
are, we suck or not later. But
But it was a very pure conviction to
Yeah.
just do music for the sake of
Absolutely.
doing music. You know,
Right.
not trying to be someone or not
Right.
trying to like stick to a brand or anything. We didn't know anything about that
Sure.
then.
So that actually brings up an interesting point, right? Like, this conviction is something that I think all musicians, all of us, including all the musicians in this room, all of us at some point of time, we've gone through that conviction.
Yeah.
That's what brought us to a place like this. But for many of us, over the period of time, we sort of kind of lose that conviction slowly. So what would your advice be to someone who feels that they've lost or are losing that conviction slowly?
I have a lot of friends actually who are in that position, and we find ourselves having this conversation quite often. And I think it's like in waves, you know. Some days they'll write a song and then they come back and say, you know what, music is all I ever want to do. And some days they're like, oh my god, I had a terrible meeting with a client and I have to do this job. It sucks. I hate
Right.
it. And I still have to do it,
Right.
grit my teeth and get through it. And then that interest ebbs and flows
Right.
through time. So I think it's, especially during the pandemic, a lot of people left music altogether because it wasn't lucrative.
Right.
It wasn't inspiring to them. And now a lot of those people are making their way back.
Right.
So that's kind of positive. So I think it really is circumstantial as well.
Awesome. So, what's next? What can we expect next from Mali?
A couple of singles. Yeah. They're not in any way connected with each other, but they're singles that I've been sitting on for a while. Excuse me. One of them is a song called Ashes that I'm releasing at the end of this month. And it's a song that explains why I was even silent this long. I went through a pretty rough time emotionally and personally speaking. Bad breakup and all of that. And then this song is really like a tombstone to that part of my life.
Right.
And I'm hoping that by putting it out, I'm answering some questions and getting closure from what I went through.
Right. Right.
So this will be the first of many, hopefully.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot for the
you,
workshop.
Siddhartha.
Thanks for this. And, we're going to be looking forward to all your music and also hopefully we get an opportunity to host you again soon. Thank you
Inshallah.
so much.
Thank you so much. Take care. You walked a mile to tell the stories of your people. You strayed another from the truth. And now you're breaking all the promises and trust.